Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Week 10 Top 25 predictions. This week is actually so sick. We've got another crazy week of football. These are my top games of the week, but trust, there's so many other good ones this week. So let's just get straight into it. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. Let's go. So first off, we start with Ohio State at Rutgers, and one that I think could actually be a bit more interesting than people like. I don't think the world realizes, or I mean, maybe they do. I don't know, but Rutgers are 6-2. I mean, they're 6-2. Yes, their losses come up against at Michigan and at Wisconsin, and they've also had their close games like Michigan State at Rutgers, where they had to come all the way back in that game. So this is a little bit of a hot take, I feel like. Ohio State is favored by 18.5. But the thing is we are yet to see a strong, good team go into the stadium of Rutgers and put them out. The reason why Rutgers did so terrible against Michigan was because it's at Michigan. They didn't even play terrible against Wisconsin, but it was at Wisconsin. So it's like now we get to see a team actually go into Rutgers and play. Sadly, Rutgers, they did not get any games that they wanted at home. I mean, this I guess is one of them, but they're on the road at Iowa, they're on the road at Penn State, they were on the road at Michigan, and on the road at Wisconsin. Bro, that is a tough little schedule. I mean, this team is all right. I definitely thought they were going to do better than they did against Michigan, but it is very difficult to go into the big house and win like that. So I'm still not going to give it to Rutgers, of course, obviously, but I'm going to say they're going to make it close. I'm going to try and say this again, and hopefully this time it is true. Although I don't want to prey on Ohio State's demise. I don't really care about that. I just want my prediction to be right. That's when I go through these weeks of football and I look at the games and I see a game there where my prediction is just horribly wrong. I'm like, oh my God, bro, why? Why does that have to happen? So I always pray that my predictions are right. So hopefully this is how it will come out. This is how it will turn out. Purdue at Michigan. This one's later in the game, but I got notifications turned on for some reason. I don't know why. Purdue is one of my teams, but they'll be lucky to score a touchdown, let's be honest. Nothing's stopping Michigan until these next couple games. This is their last easy game. They've got to go on the road at Penn State, on the road at Maryland, and then they play their rivals. Dude, and then the college football year is the regular season's over. That's so crazy, man. It just started. It feels like it literally just started. So wacky, so crazy. I wish it was longer, but Michigan should absolutely destroy Purdue. There's no hope for them. Kansas State at Texas, fighting for one of the games of the week, but honestly, I just couldn't say it with oomph in my chest that Kansas State was going to make this one competitive. I think Quinn Ewers will be back for this game, and Kansas State might play all 4 quarters, but let's be real. Texas right now, at home especially, is extremely good. They are one of the best teams in college football. They only lost barely to Oklahoma, who's currently only 2 spots under them. I mean, Texas is still a very good football team with a whole heap and load of talent. Give them a top 25 matchup, and the team will stop playing around with their food, and they'll kick ass. So this one did not make game of the week for me, or games of the week. A&M at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been struggling recently. They've been struggling. I don't know how else to say it. They've just been not performing at their best. But we know this Ole Miss team is offensive. They're now ranked at number 10, and they're fighting for the SEC to go to the SEC championship. This is a must-win for them, and I think their offense will perform. I would be favoring A&M if it was at A&M, but it's at Ole Miss, so and honestly, just out in the South, it's so crazy at those stadiums, so I'm gonna give it to Ole Miss by a little bit. A&M could cause some issues. I mean, Ole Miss's defense is definitely a questionable one, but I think in terms of Ole Miss's offense, they are able to get it done. Notre Dame at Clemson, another game that was fighting for game of the week. Remember, at the beginning of the year, we were all staring this game down. this was one of the games that made Notre Dame's schedule so difficult. There were 3 games that stood out for Notre Dame. It was Ohio State, USC, and Clemson. And that really quickly changed when it became Duke and Louisville, and Clemson and USC turned out to be trash. But actually, USC just turned out to be trash. Clemson is 4-4, but they're in the same boat right now, I'd say, as Louisville. When they take a step outside of their stadium, they don't play good. But like they took Florida State into overtime. They beat Wake Forest. Not an impressive win, but then they went into double overtime on the road at Miami, and then they lost on the road at NC State. They're back at home. This is definitely going to be a very full game in Death Valley. I mean, do not sleep on Clemson just because they're 4-4. Look at the teams they've lost to. They lost at Duke, who was on a rampage. They lost to Florida. They lost at Miami, and they lost to NC State. NC State, of all those teams, is probably the lowest, and they're still 5-3. They're not bad. So Clemson is still not to be slept on. I'm not going to call for the upset, but I'm going to call for a close one because this Notre Dame team still is really good. They are capable of going on the road. It's just sometimes they like to fold under pressure. Not a good example of that was against Duke. But a good example of that was against Ohio State, where they just couldn't get a goal line stand. So far, they're probably the best team to play, or they've probably performed the best at Louisville, which to me is very, very impressive because Louisville at home is just ridiculous right now. They are absolutely insane. And Notre Dame, ultimately, their schedule, their resume, and how they have performed this year, they are a really good team. Do not sleep on them either. So this could be like a really underrated, strong matchup. Like this could be a fight of 2 good teams. I do think Notre Dame's a more talented team here, though, by far. I'm not a big Cade Klubnik fan. I'm a huge Sam Hartman fan, although he kind of does fold under pressure. But yeah, this should go in Notre Dame's favor. If not, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like, I wouldn't say it was expected. It was like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't say it was not expected. UConn at Tennessee. I'm just going to skip this one. This should be an annihilation. ASU at Utah. All right, hear me out. The thing is I actually would have this point of view on ASU if I wasn't an ASU fan. Like, if you look at how ASU performed, they obviously the start of the year, they look like Dookie. Obviously, we can all say that. 8 turnovers against Fresno State, give me a break. But they've picked up since then. I mean, a 3-point loss at Cal that was pretty much given to them by a it was pretty much given to Cal by a pick, right, that put them right in front of our touchdown. And then just silence. I mean, they were up 24-13 on us, and then we scored a touchdown in like a minute, and then we just couldn't go down the field and score. That was when ASU was still recovering and whatnot. Then we go up against Colorado. We play this team to 4 quarters. Our defense absolutely sold by letting somebody deep, and then they kicked the last-second field goal to take the win. I mean, Trent Borghe's stats compared to Shadour's are just infinitely better. And then, of course, you have the Washington game where we play them to 8 points, and then we get our first conference win. We kick the shit out of Washington State. This is at Utah. Don't get me wrong from what I'm saying. I'm just providing evidence why I think better of ASU. But don't get me wrong. It's at Utah. Utah just got embarrassed by Oregon. This should be a bounce-back win for Utah, but if anything, I think it is just a total defensive matchup. Just being out of ASU's reach the whole time, they might score some points on the offense, but Utah's defense is them. Not even close to them. I don't know why I said that. But they're definitely able to stop ASU's offense, and ASU's defense is probably able to stop Utah's offense. So this will just be a low-scoring, boring matchup for these two. Army at Air Force. Dude, can you believe they have them at 25? Now, I know it's the college football playoff rankings, and yeah, they're Mountain West, so they're not going to make it. But, dude, this team has done nothing but perform. This team has done nothing but dominate. I mean, there's only one game they haven't just been outstanding, and it was at Sam Houston, which doesn't look like the best game ever, but still, their defense held that team to just 3 all game. And it looked like they just had a bad first half and whatnot. They came back or I wouldn't say they came back because they were never down. They just shut out. They have dropped 30 points in almost every single game. The only game they didn't was against Navy, and I expected that one to be a more defensive matchup because it's on the road and it's a rivalry. This team has done nothing but perform. They have a solid defense and a fantastic offense. I guarantee you if Air Force were to go up against many of the Power 5 teams that are above them, Air Force would win. It's just a college football playoff ranking throws them all the way down to number 25, which I can see it, but I just would rather see this team be like number 10 or something like that because they are the only other one of the only other undefeated teams, and they're really good. So 25, it just feels like it makes them look like they're not that good of a team when they really are. But now to the game, they should kick the shit out of Army. Army's not good. They're 2-6. Yes, it's a rivalry, but don't get fooled. Come on now. It's at Air Force. Should be an utter annihilation. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. I do kind of give away my predictions with the backgrounds, but that's okay. I like it. I'm taking Oklahoma State in a fun shootout. This is going to be an extremely fun one. If you look at what Oklahoma State has done this year, how they like playing in shootouts. The only game that doesn't show that was against ASU and I guess against South Alabama. The thing about the South Alabama game is that they didn't have their starting QB in that game. They had some random dude. So when they went to the backup, they just died. And against Arizona State, against ASU, they just couldn't really do anything against their defense and stupid decisions to go for 4th downs on our side of the field gave Oklahoma State the win, not vouching for ASU in any way, shape, or form. We looked like shit in that game. I'm just saying. But since then, since those 2 games, Oklahoma State lost by 7 at Iowa State. Then they beat Kansas State. Then they beat Kansas. Then they beat West Virginia on the road. Then they kicked the shit out of Cincinnati. And now they're currently in the top 25. And I think this is the big bounce back win for Oklahoma State. I think this is the one where they make their name known to the rest of the world and throw themselves into the Big 12 championship conversation. Because one of their losses is non-conference. So they're still a 1-loss team in the conference. However, they need Iowa State to lose. Guys, can you believe it? Iowa State is currently in 2nd place in the conference right now. That's kind of wacky, isn't it? But yeah, they have that loss to Iowa State. Iowa State needs to lose. Oklahoma State needs to win this. Oklahoma State doesn't play Texas, so they're chilling. If they beat Oklahoma in this game, they're chilling. They just need Iowa State to lose. And I think they could do it. I think this will be a very fun and enjoyable matchup. Missouri at Georgia. Oh, I hate CBS. I just hate CBS. I don't care about Georgia and other top 25 matchups. I care about Mizzou in other top 25 matchups. But no, it's because Georgia's in it. They've got to take it. CBS, and I don't get CBS. I don't get to watch it. It's so annoying. But I still think Missouri is not going to be able to travel into Georgia. It's in the middle of the day, not a night game, but I still think Missouri is just not going to be able to do that good against Georgia. It's just going to be unbelievable environment, one of the hardest stadiums to play at, and ultimately I just think Georgia's a more talented team. Missouri's run in this world is coming to a close. If Missouri wins this, I'm the happiest person in the world, but I don't think they will. FSU at Pitt. Well, I'd love to try and favor Pitt, but to be honest, the only reason I think they beat Louisville like that is because I think Louisville's just horseshit on the road. I think the only thing that they have going for them is that home field. So give me FSU by a lot. They have them by 21.5. I think that's kind of much, but FSU has kind of sat in this point range against the little teams like 37, 41 and whatnot. They always get the weird, wacky scores. But yeah, they should be good in this game. FSU's really freaking good right now. Penn State at Maryland. I'd love to favor Maryland, but they have just fallen apart. It is really sketchy favoring Maryland. I really want to. Honestly, I don't even know if I did in my predictions or not. I think I might have, honestly. But Maryland, at the beginning, I thought Maryland could totally win this because last year, Maryland got shut out. They got destroyed. And going into this year, I thought Maryland was a really good team, but once that Ohio State game happened, they fell apart. They lost at home to Illinois, and they lost on the road to Northwestern. So, yes, this could be a bounce-back game. They're still 5-3, but I do think they are struggling. Oh, I did favor them. I did. I knew it. I chose the wrong background, which was throwing me off. I did favor Maryland in this one. Reason being, Penn State looks like shit right now. Obviously, they lose at Ohio State, but against Indiana, they only win by 9 at Penn State. Now they've got to go on the road. I think this is a shaken up and demoralized Penn State team, and they're about to enter an unbelievable environment. I think this will be a pretty packed stadium for Maryland and a very momentum-filled Maryland team. I think there could potentially be some upset. Now that I look at it, I don't want to favor Maryland, but, dude, if I favored them then, I'm favoring them now. That's simply it. I threw myself off with the background. I was like, I swear I favored them, and then it's had the stupid Penn State background. I was like, what's up with that? Dang, dude, I just know myself so well. But, yeah, give me Maryland. I'm excited for that match. I really hope I'm right, or at least close to right. I hope it's not just an embarrassing blowout, but Penn State does have a solid defense, but they also allowed Indiana to score 24 points at Penn State. So I think this could definitely – Maryland can put up points. It's Penn State's offense that is so just horrific right now. I really thought they were good. Nick Singleton, Drew Aller, they just haven't been performing. Kate Lambert-Smith, they just haven't been performing at the rate that I want them to. Virginia Tech at Louisville. Sorry, no hope for you, Virginia Tech. You're at Louisville. I can't believe Louisville is only favored by 9.5. Now, yes, this is a very underrated and important matchup. Virginia Tech is 4-4 with some embarrassing losses on their resume. But Virginia Tech has simply bounced back since then. So they lose to Purdue. Horrible loss. At Virginia Tech. Horrible loss. They lose at Rutgers. It's a more reasonable loss. They lose at Marshall. Horrible loss. But once they enter conference play, kick the shit out of Pitt, get their ass kicked at Florida State, but that's reasonable. Kick the shit out of Wake Forest and kick the shit out of Syracuse. I don't think they're that good of a team, but the thing is they are a one-loss team in their conference. They're 4-4, but a one-loss team in their conference, which puts them in the conversation for the ACC championship. Whether they're a good team or not, it puts them in the conversation for it. So there will be some emotion here. Maybe Virginia Tech will play better, but Louisville should dominate because it's at Louisville, and they've sat in this point range. They've dominated defensively. It should be a Louisville win, putting them back into putting Virginia Tech back into reality, kicking them out of the talk. Tulane at East Carolina. Dude, I can't believe East Carolina is a one-loss team. I had them being like a 3-loss team this year. Or I'm sorry, they're a 7-loss team, not a 1-loss team. They're a 1-win team right now. I had them being like a 3-loss team this year. No way, Jose. Give me Tulane by a lot. They're favored by 17. They should cover. I mean, East Carolina's not that good. Cal at Oregon. Oh, boy. Give me Oregon. I mean, if Oregon destroys Cal and also destroyed Colorado, and I mean, I guess Stanford doesn't really count. Compare how Cal has played to other teams in the Pac-12. Compare how Colorado has played to other teams in the Pac-12. If Oregon dominates like how I expect them to, that should just set the bar. Oregon is one of the best teams in college football. I pray they don't choke and not make it to the college football playoff, because I seriously think this team is that good. I think they could seriously beat the shit out of every team in the college football playoff if they get the chance. Kansas at Iowa State. Kansas is coming off of a huge win against Oklahoma. A delayed rain game, and the backup quarterback got it done for Kansas. Give me Iowa State in a fun, amazing, memorable game. I really pray. I pray in these predictions a lot. I think Iowa State will cover. Their favor by 2.5. They've got the home field. And ultimately, Iowa State really, their two of their losses were because their team was just dismantled. I mean, their team was just like not there. So the quarterback, from what it looks like, Rocco Betch, or something like that. I don't even know. He performs greatly against Oklahoma State. Of course, one of their losses is at Oklahoma in an annihilation. I don't blame that, though. It's at Oklahoma. As well as their quarterback threw 2 picks. But for some against Iowa, they lose by 7, although it really just looks like Iowa State should have won. They were up in yards. Oh, that's why, because they threw the 1 pick thrown was a pick 6. But against Iowa, it's respectable. But then the worst loss at Ohio. They lose at Ohio. They were down 10-0 going into the fourth quarter, or midway through the fourth quarter, and they just couldn't put together the victory. It just looks like a shitty, terrible, bad performance there. But since then, they've done nothing but bounce back. Now, yes, I mean, their only good win so far is against Oklahoma State, and they got to host them in that. And they only won by 7, but they beat TCU. They kicked the shit out of Cincy, and they kicked the shit out of Baylor. They have to play Kansas. This is a Big 12 championship, talkable thing. If Iowa State wins this, they're still in the conversation. Kansas wins this, they've pushed up into the conversation. So it is very important. I think Iowa State will pull it off. I think it's going to be a matchup of 2 great offenses. I don't know what Jason Bean, if he's going to be back or if Jalen Daniels is coming back. I don't know the situation there, but I just feel like these 2 teams are not the best on the defensive end of ball, and they are stronger on the offensive, which will lead to a memorable shootout. This could even go into overtime. USC at Washington. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Washington at USC. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, pretend this is flip-flopped. Doesn't matter. Give me Washington by a lot. Give me Washington by too much. Oh, my God. I'm betting on it. They only have Washington winning by 3. That's insane. I mean, that's the audacity. I gotta calm down. USC, guys, look at USC's last 4 games. Not even the ones they lost. Look at their last 4 games. We can even look at their last 5 games. A 7-point win at Colorado. A 2-point win in triple overtime to U of A. Get absolutely clobbered at Notre Dame. Lose to Utah at home. And win by a point on a terrible decision play call by Cal. And Washington, undefeated, has destroyed majority of the teams, or played better at least. Washington goes at USC. They seriously are saying, and Washington beat Oregon. They're seriously going to tell me Washington's only favored by 3? That's crazy. Give me Washington by a lot. Hope I'm not wrong there. LSU at Bama. Dude, I don't know why this logo was so long. It was driving me through the wall. It was actually making me go bonkers. Bama's only favored by 3. Reasonable. This one is difficult because Bama's got a really good defense and a very mid offense. LSU's got an extremely good offense, but a super shitty defense. Jaden Daniels is in the Heisman talk. He's so good right now. I mean, it's ridiculous. Their offense has the capability to put up so many points, but the problem is they're going on the road to a very, very solid defense. If you look at LSU, they put up 49 points every game. They put up 49 against Ole Miss. They put up 49 against Missouri, and they won at Missouri. Keep that in mind. I mean, Missouri's currently ranked at number 12 right now. And, yeah, I mean, their only bad game was against Florida State, really. That was their only bad game. The loss at Ole Miss is reasonable, but they got their butts kicked in by Florida State in a neutral site to open the year. Give me LSU, man. Apparently, God, why do I keep throwing myself off with the background? I did it twice this video. I had the Bama background, and I favored LSU. I really want to do it because, you know what? The thing is at the beginning of the year, I was just like, there's no way LSU beats Bama. You guys are delusional. At Bama, are you kidding me? And since then, that has just slowly trickled away. And now I think everybody's going to favor Bama in this one. 2019 LSU, man, not even close in comparison. Don't listen to me. But, dude, LSU, the 2019, they went into Bama and they took the dub against one of the best Bama teams ever. They took the dub, end up kicking Bama out of the conversation. And honestly, LSU right now, they do look like a better team than Bama. Bama's offense really is just not good. It's just not good. Their only high-scoring game that against a good opponent, or quote-unquote good, was against Tennessee. But Tennessee is, like, not good. Tennessee at Bama, we expected that. When they play against Texas, they only put up 24. Against Ole Miss, 24. Against A&M, 26. Against Arkansas, 24. They can't put up any more than 24 points. Their defense is able to hold offenses to little points. But against Jaden Daniels in this super extremely high-powered offense, I don't think they will. The thing is can Jalen Milroe put together offense against a really bad LSU defense? I believe he can. LSU's defense has done nothing but struggle all year, but the problem is Jalen Milroe is hella inconsistent. He loves to drop a deep bomb and like put up 21 points in the next 5 minutes, but then he'll go silent for the next 3 quarters. It'll all be dependent on one man and one man only. Every other area I have faith in. I have faith in what I say, but it relies on one man and one man only. Jalen Milroe, can he perform in this game? I don't think so. I'm not on the Jalen Milroe hype train. Was at the start, not anymore. Oregon State of Colorado. Y'all, dude, I just like stopped changing the backgrounds, huh? That was the problem. Oregon State at Colorado. I really want to favor Colorado in this game. Oregon State's coming off of a terrible loss at U of A. I mean, they should have won that game, but they went for some ridiculous fake field goal with no time left in the half. Not even for just like a first down. It was like there was no time left. I'm going to say close one. Oregon State's offense can probably play much better against Colorado's defense, but it's at Colorado, and let's be real, Boulder is still popping. They just haven't been looked at recently. They are still popping. But give me Oregon State in a close one, again, per usual. I think Oregon State's kind of showing their true colors this year. I think they were better last year. UCLA at Arizona. Oh, I got a background right because I'm favoring Arizona again. I think this Arizona team is actually really, really good. To be honest, I seriously think U of A should be ranked. I really wanted them to be ranked, but of course, college football playoff rankings got dropped. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. Of course, the 3-loss team's not going to be in it, but dude, they beat the number 11 team in the country. They played Washington to 7. They played USC to 2. They should have won that USC game, but that play call was just awful. And I think they do nothing but bounce back. They've got all the home games. They got to go on the road at Colorado, which could be tough, and on the road at ASU. But they get to host Utah. They get to host UCLA. Give me Arizona, dude. Their defense is actually pretty good. Their offense is able. I think UCLA's offense is just going to struggle. And that brings us to the last game of the year. This prediction video is all over the place. I apologize for fucking myself over with the backgrounds and making myself look stupid. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. A like and subscribe would help. A comment always helps. That's all for me. Adios.